Before we get into today's show, Marshall Green, the host of our Giants channel here at Chat Sports, claims we can't get 3,000 likes on today's show like he did on one of his recent ones. Let's prove him wrong. As always, it's F. Marshy, baby. Like the video for me on today's show. Pretty interesting roster projection came out on Thursday from the Athletics' John Machota, friend of the show. He left a roster spot open on that 53-man projection, specifically for an outside addition at corner. Here's what John wrote. Quote, if the Cowboys are to make another notable roster move between now and the season opener, cornerback is the best bet. So a spot was left open at the position. That could potentially be a veteran free agent like Stephon Gilmore or someone Dallas makes a move for late in camp or during roster cuts. Look, I like the idea of adding a cornerback if you are the Cowboys. And maybe that doesn't come between now and the start of camp. Maybe that comes, like John hints at, in early August. Like other times they've made moves. They've gotten 2 weeks into camp before and went, we're not good enough here, let's go make an addition. I wouldn't be shocked if they did something similar. I think they are thin at actual, real, proven talent to start the season at cornerback. I am worried about that group. I question if it is built well enough, if it is stable enough, given you don't have Trayvon Diggs. You go to the depth chart, but I didn't put it in the script. We can go to it. You don't have Josh Butler. We'll see when Savone Revel is fully up to speed and good to go and established. Kaiir Elam, I'm optimistic about, but he wasn't very good in Buffalo, if we're being honest. Is Kalen Carson, Andrew Booth, Izzy Mukwamu, Kamon Hall, is that good enough? What if there's another injury? I am fully on board with this idea of the Cowboys trying to go out and pursue a corner. So, coming up on today's show, we're going to look at free agent targets that are available, trade targets, cut candidates, which is a little bit more challenging. Frankly, there's only the cut and trade candidates kind of blend together too. Before we get into that, will the Cowboys end up adding another corner? Why for yes, or 1 for yes, 0 for no, excuse me. It's the pinned comment on today's show, so head down there and go vote. Stephon Gilmore was the name specifically mentioned in the John Machota roster projection of a potential add the Cowboys could make to help out the cornerback room. And I think it makes a lot of sense if you get a week or two into camp and go, yeah, we got to get somebody else in here. That's about when he signed last year with the Vikings, by the way. He has experience with the Cowboys. There is that familiarity that the Cowboys often like, and I think he can still be a stopgap starter. Look, at his age, he's 35 years old. He's going to have his 35 age season, I should say. He probably knows that he's not going to be viewed as a long-term starter for anybody. But he can come in and still contribute and help, cash them checks, and be a contributor. And remember, reportedly, he didn't want to leave the Cowboys in the first place. He wanted to stay. It just didn't materialize because the Cowboys had other investments in the cornerback room they wanted to ride with. So he ends up going to Minnesota and was serviceable, solid even. I do wonder what the contract cost ends up looking like for Stephon Gilmore. He got $7 million from the Vikings last year. Shaquille Griffin just got $3 million from Seattle up to $4 million. So you're probably looking at somewhere in between that range for Gilmore, and maybe it ends up being closer to Griffin this time around. Again, he's not the player he was in his prime. I think we all know that. But it's not the expectation. Expectation is, okay, the other guys aren't ready. We're not good enough with our other veteran depth. Can you come in and be CB 2/3/4, depending on when guys get healthy and when guys are ready to make a big-time impact? If he's on board with that, if he's willing to take that role, I do have a lot of interest because the other options just might not be available, / too costly. So would you bring back Stephon Gilmore? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's video. Next up is Mike Hilton. These are some other top free agents. And if you are open to adding a nickel and allowing DaRon Bland to play more on the outside, this is a name I think you should consider. If you want someone to help out your run defense at that nickel spot, I think Mike Hilton is a really good option for you. Now, the issue is the Bengals kind of benched him in passing downs, which is a huge red flag. But if you're looking for an inside guy as opposed to an outside guy like Gilmore, I think Hilton is your top option. Rasul Douglas is also a name to consider. He had been linked to Seattle, and then they ended up signing Shaquille Griffin, so they can cross him off that destination list. This is more of a buy low bounce back candidate. He was good in 2020. He was good in 2022. He played really well for Green Bay. They were not good enough. They shipped him off to Buffalo, and he kind of struggled last year. He didn't have the same caliber of season I think he thought he was going to have. I think the biggest difference here, Douglas is looking at a bounce back and then cash in option. He might not view Dallas in that same category. Asante Samuel has short arms, and that's a big no-no for the Cowboys. Also coming off a neck injury, and he had surgery on it, actually, to help hopefully correct some stinger issues he's had. Kept him to just 4 games last season. A lot of us wanted him coming out of Florida State. If the Cowboys would overlook the arm length concerns, great, please go do it. I also wonder if he's looking for a path to more guaranteed playing time late in the season, which you're kind of hoping that, hey, maybe Gilmore is okay not doing that. Now, you can get the Cowboys 4th of July gear at chatsports.com/Cowboys4th. That link will be in the comments section and the description. A clickable link over there in the corner as well. What better way to celebrate America's Day than with some America's Team gear? Links in the comments and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/Cowboys4th. Next up on the top free agents, how about Jack Jones? And this is a wild card option in sometimes a negative sense. When he is playing well, it's actually super intriguing. It's fun. He makes some plays. When he is playing not well, it's ugly. It is inconsistent. It is chaotic. It is just bad plays. The good of like that, pick 6 against the Chargers in that crazy blowout game that got Brandon Staley fired, and then, just like being a knucklehead too often. Kendall Fuller, I think, is an intriguing secondary option that maybe shouldn't even be a secondary one. I think the decline is kind of set in, and that does worry me for corners. Like, once you lose it, I kind of feel like it's gone, and it ends up being really dicey. But he has inside-outside experience. He's played both, which I think actually is intriguing and should add to the value of potentially signing him. One more vet option, Cameron Sutton. That is a nickel corner who was really good with Pittsburgh, had a solid year with the Lions, got himself arrested, got himself suspended for some not insignificant criminal activity off the field, or alleged criminal activity off the field, I guess we should still call it, but didn't do much for his Steelers. Kind of wonder if how much is left in the tank for him at this time. So don't miss out on any Dallas Cowboys rumors. When players get signed, we got you covered. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Jalen Ramsey trade. As of filming, the Dolphins still have yet to find a trade partner for Jalen Ramsey, despite their stated plan to do so. There are some core issues here. Ramsey reportedly wants West Coast, which like Rams, Raiders, something along those lines. Dallas, I saw someone say Dallas was counts in the West Coast category. I'm like, what are we talking about? It's the South. It's not the West Coast. Stop it. It's west of Miami, but that doesn't mean anything. I think there is a real potential lack of mutual interest overall. Ramsey was mad at Dallas for the way the draft went down when he thought the Cowboys would take him. And I don't know if Dallas wants to take on the Ramsey contract. That's not how they typically operate. He's owed $21 million in cash this year. The cap hit is extremely affordable. It's paying like $5 million this year, $6 million. But you're still paying 1 year, $21 million and eating a bunch of dead money at some point when you move on. Probably not how they want to go about doing their business. So what is the percent chance you think that the Cowboys trade for Jalen Ramsey? I think that answer is low. Let me know in the comments of today's show. I did my best here to try to find some cut candidates. I'll be honest, I don't think it's a great group. Most teams aren't cutting good corners. That's how the NFL works. Jalen Armour-Davis, Alabama legend for you there, Chris. 4th-round pick by Baltimore. Kind of feel like he's on the outside looking into that roster construction. Another former 4th-round pick who's played some real games, Damari Mathis, the Denver Broncos corner. They've got a lot of depth. They could potentially move on from one of them. Trey Avery has kind of hung around the Titans roster for a couple years. Now with San Francisco, they've got probably one or two too many corners. It's a group to consider. Bryce Hall, who I liked a lot coming out of Virginia, had injury concerns, is now a member of the Buccaneers. Still might not make the roster, has some size the Cowboys like. And speaking of size, Bobby Price has good size. He's been a Lions guy for several years. Now with Washington, he seems like he's on the outside looking in. I don't think they're going to cut Noah Igbinoghene. If you want to bring him back, by the way. So those are 5 names that maybe you've heard one of, but again, as an indication of it's not a great group.